Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Paint Party Livestream. This is episode 162 of the Livestream. This is my Learn to Paint journey. Several years ago, I started teaching myself to paint here on YouTube, and every week I meet you in my studio, Monday evening, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, to continue that process. Over the last year, I have been transitioning out of acrylic into oil paint, and so I have been learning a new medium. And the last few weeks, we have been working on finishing some of the paintings that I have laying around the studio. Many of these were started in acrylic and just set aside. I have about, I think, 15 or 20 paintings that I varnished this week because it got warm enough to be outside because the varnish is pretty toxic. So it was nice to get those finished. And we're going to continue this evening finishing up one of these paintings, which is behind me on my easel. So I'm so glad to have you here this evening. If you've been around before, you know how this live stream works. It is really laid back. You can participate in the live stream via the comments. Wherever you're watching, on whatever platform you're on, feel free to ask questions, to make comments. I love interacting with you during the live stream, so feel free to do that. We will get everything set up and we'll jump right in. So I'm going to switch my camera over and then we can get started. All right, I will switch you here to this camera so that I can get the other one set up over by my canvas. Let's see. I hope everybody's had a good week. How was your week? How was your week? Hope that it is well. We have had some nice weather here, but tonight we are back on a winter storm warning, so we'll see. It won't be very dramatic because it has been so warm, but it'll be nice to get some good moisture. So I'm going to have to move. This is a large canvas. A year or so ago, I realized, if I paint smaller, not only can I get paintings done faster, but it's easier for showing on live streams. So I'm going to have to back up my camera here for you. All right, let me add this is my palette here down in the corner so you can see kind of what I am doing. And then let me put the reference photo. So this is the reference I'm working off. And I think tonight what I want to do is reestablish some of this. Hey there, C. James. Or did you tell me you go by CJ? I can't remember. No, not flowers. I reached about as good as I could get. Let me show you. For those of you that don't know what he's referring to, these were the flowers we worked on last week. And I did some more work up in here and refined this. This other iris needs refined a little bit, but I think I really worked on these petals, and I love the value and the shape and everything. But I just couldn't get the purple with the right like shade, and I think it's because I don't have the right color of magenta. CJ is cool, awesome. I think I need a different color of magenta. My magenta, I have alizarin crimson, I have ultramarine blue, and then like cad red and some others, and I'm not able to quite get the color of magenta that I need for that. So I think I'm going to have to get a different color or figure how to mix that. But that's part of the learning process, I guess. So we're going to continue. Plus, I try not to do too many weeks in a row where we're working on the same painting unless I'm able to make dramatic improvements. But in that one, that's one of the, I think, good things, I guess, that I've learned over the last 3 years. I've learned when to say this is the limit of my skill right now and be okay with that. And that's why we're doing some of these paintings. That's why I picked this painting tonight, because I picked it up and I said, oh, I see some things I would do different. Or like this dock, I'm like, the perspective is a little off and I think I can improve it. So it's amazing when you walk away from something for several months or a year or more. It sometimes, well, your ability improves. So, all right, welcome. I see some more people popping in. So glad to have you. Again, you can participate in the live stream wherever you're watching. You can ask questions or make comments. I'm gonna put on my apron my paint apron before I forget, just so I don't get paint all over. I'm gonna see how long. I want to paint quite a while tonight, but I have had the last several weeks, I've had some problems with my left arm, which is my dominant hand, with kind of shooting pains going up my arm. I'm hoping it's not carpal tunnel, but I'm trying. I've been wearing a brace most of the time, unless I'm doing something like this where I need dexterity. And I think it is from mixing paint, so with the brush on the palette, so I have to be really careful. But it was twinging a little bit, so I will take it real easy tonight and we will just see what we can do. Okay, I'm going to turn this. Pardon me while I adjust this camera. Okay. Actually, not adjust the camera. Sorry, that's get a little motion sick there. That's not my intention. But, hey there, Matthew. Thanks so much for joining. Trafalgar, Indiana. First time watching. May not be able to stay too long. No problem. My live stream is really laid back. I go every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Probably 8 p.m. out your way. Maybe 7 if you're on. Are you Central? No, Indiana. You're past Illinois, so you must probably be Eastern. But yeah, stay as long as you're able or would like to. Pop in, pop out. It is pretty casual around here, but I'm so glad to Trafalgar. I'll have to look what part of the state that is, because I don't know that by name. But it is good to have you pop in. I appreciate you checking out. All right, so let's look at this. When we look at this, and I look at what I want to do, I know that I really want to improve the horizon line. But that is the darkest thing, or the darkest value in our or almost, yeah, other than maybe the shadow on the dock. So I want to avoid that at first. I want to, I think, paint the areas around there. So that way, let's see, let us see what we can do. Opaque, and I wonder this as well. So I'm going to put some of these light colors out on the palette just to mix. because I think what I want to do is come in and refine some of these skylight colors, and then we can do the dark, because the dark will cover over some of that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking in my head, at least. All right. Always appreciate those of you who show up week in, week out. When I first started doing this, I was a teacher, and I just went live on Instagram, and it was mostly just students who would pop in, and then I figured out how to syndicate across multiple platforms, and so I moved over to YouTube. And yeah, it's kind of not surprising, but always pleasantly surprised that there's people who just enjoy watching me do my thing. So I don't take it for granted. I really enjoy having you all join me. All right, actually, I don't know if I think this brown is a little too goopy. So let's put some more brown out here. I think I'm going to also do we'll do the dark bit under because I recognize that right away, the dark shadow under the dock. I recognize that the dock was the skewed perspective a little bit, and I think I can fix that. So let's try that, because I think getting that right is going to be important. Okay. So let's take, this is what was causing me pain, so let me see if I can do it correctly with a palette knife. I'm used to just mixing colors. It feels so awkward to me to mix colors on the palette like this with a palette knife instead of with the brush, just because I'm so used to that. But I think it really is not a good thing for my wrist. So I need to get used to mixing color like that. Okay, I think this is pretty close to what I want. So, and I need to, I think this dock is kind of placed wrong. So I think it actually is something like this. think it's like that. Trying to figure out. Let's see. We'll see. We'll have to refine these lines, but at least it gives us a starting point. Okay. What I want to do now is somewhere out here is where this ends. So I think my perspective, it was like this instead of this. It was a little too much like that. So we'll try to, it may still be off. It probably is, just because it's very hard to All right, let me step back from this a little bit and see what my brain says. Yeah, my brain still says it's off, but I can't tell if that's because of how I currently have the dock painted. I think it's still too severe. Meaning I think it needs to come up this way a little bit, but we may have to fix that in another sitting as well. Let's see. I just think this, let me see. Let me start to go like that. I know this isn't perfect, but that's okay. Just trying to get my perspectives. a little more accurate. Hey there. Thank you for popping in. Let me see. I think I want to do. This is the problem. I grab the paints from my. Let me take a little bit, mix it. This is a little bit of red. Okay, we're mixing like a lighter gray. And I just want to see how this works if I start to take my cover up kind of those. I missed what you said. What is about the dock that's bothering you? It's the angle of the perspective, like going out into and it's hard because you guys are looking up from over my shoulder, like sideways at it, so it probably looks skewed to you all as well. But the dock, I painted it like this instead of like kind of like this angle, if that makes sense. It's extending this way, and I painted it a little bit like this. So I just need to. This was painted probably 2 or 3 years ago, and so my skill has improved some. At least my eye has improved to be able to see, okay, this is off. But when I can see it's off, but then I also need to figure out like how to fix it. And it's hard to do that when you're looking at something that's already there. So does that make sense? Yes, I'm trying to straighten the illusion. I'm trying to fix the illusion, if that makes sense. So what I'm really having to do is the lines of the dock, like these boards were like painted like this, and they need to be more like this to give the illusion that the dock is extending out into the water. See, when I take those lines out, even though I'm just painting like a color over it, it's starting to look a little bit better, at least to my eyes. Yes, I unfortunately I can't get to, maybe, I wonder, let me try this, because I'm sitting in a stool, and so to line up let me line up here. Pardon my big head in your way. Okay, maybe that's better. Unless I lean really far forward, I don't get in your way. So that's actually a better angle, isn't it? For you all, viewing wise, I think it is. Whoops. Yes. Yes, that's better. Great. Okay, now what we have to do is just play with these shapes a little bit. So now this is gonna, because this is wet paint. So, but I think that's solving. Now the dock looks, the shadow's not exactly perfect, but the dock is looking a lot better. The black underneath is too much. Yes, you're correct. Because this is actually, part of this is now I just painted it all black so I could get the angles correct, because it's easier for me to go over the black and lighten it than to darken it. So I think this is almost like sculpture, and I may be wrong, but basically now what I need to try to do is come in, and that board, because it's actually, I painted it all black, but I'm going to take some kind of yellow reddish color, and try to put in that board on the side. So this is the side board. It's straightening out. Okay. Now, what we want to do is begin to just put the suggestion of this I'll have to come back and do detail work on this one, I'm sure. But this was a major, like when I just looked at the painting, it just like jumped out at me. So I was like, oh, let's try to fix that, because if we can get the shape right, I'm confident I can, eventually I can get the details. I'm not too worried about the details. Okay, how's that looking to you all? Let's just take that out for now. Hey, Anne, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate your joining and commenting. It's always so much more fun when you all are here and engaged, and not just talking to myself. Okay, so I really feel, that's the problem with sitting so close to y'all. I can't get out of here now. Pardon me. Oh, shh. There we go. I apologize. I try to do something nice. Okay, let's try this again. Bear with me. Whoop. Okay. My whole... what is this thing? The tripod just keeled over. You guys probably saw more of my studio than you wanted to see. Okay, there we go. Now I think you can still see fairly accurate. Maybe I can go like that and turn this. Just turn the head of the... There we go. You're almost looking on. It's a little bit from the right, but you're getting a pretty accurate perspective. I do think that's better, but I still think it's a little off. So let me... It is much better than it was. However, good grief. Now I have no room here. Okay, gotta get this. Okay. It is, this angle is still a little off. Glad you took that center dark. Ah, yeah. Like cutting into the darkness. I've fallen. You guys. Yeah. So what I think is that I really need to cut back into, and this will be, I'll use some of this water to cut back in here, but I think that I need I still need to like come in like this. Hey there, Shirley. How's your pop doing? I was so sorry to hear. I hope he's feeling slowly back to himself and getting stronger. That's what we will pray for and keep our fingers crossed for. It's kind of interesting to me that this is... Oh my. So are you up here, or are you still at home? So what I'm noticing is alrighty. Well, yeah, definitely keep us posted. I know Mom and Dad were down in Rapid today running errands, but if there's anything we can do, or you need us to check in on him, we're happy to do that. So the line here in this perspective has to be kind of like this, and then over here it's kind of like this. So it's like a different... Like even just putting my brush up there, oh, that's great. I hope it goes just super smoothly. Even just putting my brush up there and giving that straight line gives us the feeling that it's good, or it's better. So Thanks. The majority of the painting, the only part I've done tonight before you came in is like redoing this dock. The rest of it was done. This is all dried and it's in acrylic. But I think I can dial up the wow factor if the start of the dock seems tilted. Yes, I need to actually, you're correct. I need to, and I can't do too much of that because the paint is wet and wet. I know it feels like it should be spring already. We're getting a winter storm warning tonight. Today it was, I think, almost 50 degrees. I don't know if you guys are going to get that weather down there, but we won't get a lot of snow. But okay, so the dock is still tilting toward you like this way at the start. So yeah, I need to bring this up and this shadow in a little bit, but I may have to wait until I like do another like detailed, because I don't know that I can fix it completely because the paint is wet and wet, especially with the dark. We'll see. Maybe this. I need to take some of this in anyway to do. Because there's like a reflection in the water of the bottom of the dock, so we need to lighten some of that shadow up anyway. We'll see. And then the posts that are no longer there are I still need to work on that a little bit. So, but the deal is if we get the general direction pretty good, then it starts to work. It's much easier to go in and put detail on a structure that is relatively correct. So there, that's kind of that little detail. We're getting rain, but north in Cheyenne they're supposed to get 6 to 8 inches of snow. Ooh, yeah, it said on our weather notice, it said that the Wyoming Black Hills were going to get up to 6 inches. I don't know, the weather advisory says up to 6 inches here, but my weather app is telling me only 1 to 3, but who knows? It's lead, so usually we get more, so I'm expecting that we will get we will get probably hammered a little bit, but it's supposed to be back 50s or 60s again soon, so okay, this is not working again because now it's turning that, so I need to fix that. I don't want to dink with this too much because okay, yeah, I just want to get the shape pretty good. This is going to be actually this middle is in the water anyway, so we'll bring some of this up into the yes, you're correct. You're talking about this side. Yeah, I'm gonna take this water and bring it in here like it is to the edge and do some real like tight lines there, so that will help. But I'm gonna set this aside for a while as far as there. But what I do want to work on a little bit is I'm gonna put this down just to hold it in place a little bit, and I do want to come in here and do some shaping of this grass here. And what I'm going to do is put in some of the shadows, the dark shadows. If I can. This is not working very well because no, that side longer. To tilt the other way. Oh, I got what you're saying. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I will work on that. Yep. I will have to work on that to get it. Not sure how to do all this because it's like I did it originally just in blues instead of but I really need to I want to get these shapes a little better. And the other thing is when I did this painting, I was not super accurate on my canvas size, and so the reference photo is not as accurate either to like the dimensions of the canvas. So, but I want it fairly dark down here so that it is it kind of pushes, because the lines are going here, The lines are going here. The brightest area is here. This is pointing that direction. So everything's pointing into the painting, and I want to be able to this lower part to push us that direction as well. I'm just doing shapes right now just to kind of give the, I'll come in and put the greens and the blues in and the highlights, but I kind of want to get the right shape. I can always, again, this is a reference photo. It's not, I used to paint pretty photorealistic, like try to create, because I was developing my skills, so I used to paint like I want to, you know, I want to create as accurate as possible, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think, like, for example, over here, I'm going to put some larger, I'm just going to take out that side and put some larger kind of bushes or branches there. And then come up over here too on this side. We'll see. The other thing, this is a pretty good composition, but I think I should have adjusted this to crop it more like here, so that the sky is really the, or opposite, like crop it there so that this reflection is the main focus. But that's how you learn. Okay, because if I did that, it does take out the this, but it really, or even that, it really then emphasizes the sky, or vice versa. I'm not sure what would be best. That's why it's so important, little Padawans, to do sketches, which is something that I have learned the value of in the last couple of years, that preliminary studies and sketches, there's a reason that classic artists didn't just pick up a brush and start painting. They would do all kinds of studies of different parts, different compositions, to help make the decisions about those things before they ever start the major work. All right, so now let's take a big brush and start to see if we can work on this sky a little bit. what I am trying to mix now is kind of this dark sky color that has kind of a reddish tint to it, but I can do burnt sienna, I think, to give me the color I need. So let me you know what, I think the brush I need is this one. All right. This is where I need to come in. I do, absolutely. That is true, especially for this type of a canvas where it's larger than just the little 8x10s or whatever. Now I'm here just gonna have to kind of, I'm trying to just again, I'm kind of going for shape. I'm taking a lot of this, I rendered it very blue, so now the brown looks a little severe, and it may be, but we can always adjust that. But and I do understand that this is too dark, the value, but trying to reestablish my shapes and where I am. So hey there, Mom and Dad. Okay, now. Okay, this is too light. the right side. Yes, I am going to clean up this, probably one of the last things because it's dark value like down here. But yes, these reflections and shadow need to be, it needs to be adjusted for sure. You are not wrong. No, I do want to clean it up because it makes it feel like it's pulling in forward, too far forward. So, okay, this is about the value I want for this. These clouds here, this is the right value. So I need to adjust these so they're like this. But I want to get all of this kind of the shape of these things laid in so that it reads correctly with the shape, and then it will be much more dramatic. I like the darker color. Thanks. I need to raise this up now a little bit and pull my, this is also the difficult thing because my, my lights are so bright in here that it's hard to judge, or this light over me. Makes the orange and yellow pop. Yes, the more shadow kind of light that we put around them, the better it does. So, I messed with my light and now that's why I need better lights, y'all. But no worries. Thanks so much for stopping in, Matthew, and staying as long as you did. I appreciate you popping by, and I hope you have a great week and your Tuesday isn't too strenuous. I am not a morning person, so getting up early is not my jam, but I was up early this morning and didn't have to be. I got to work and she's like, you don't need to be here till 9. I was like, oh, okay. Okay, so I want to lighten some of this. Some of this will be covered up by trees and such, but let's just take it out there. It's so crazy to me now what I see how my eye sees things. Like this, how it was painted was how my eye saw this, you know, several years ago, of course. But now it's like, okay, now I see in a different, and probably in another year I would see something even more different. But it's amazing how it adjusts in time. See, this is why I get tendonitis, because I mix like this. I just need to be a little less aggressive and more intentional. I think I was just really blue. Look how blue I was in this, where it's kind of that grayish red. It's not bad, it's just not. And like you said, it wasn't popping the way I wanted it to, even though the painting itself, you know, it was okay. It was pretty. Like, it was beautiful, but I think when we get this done, we'll even be more impressive. This is why I'm finishing these in oil, because I think oil is even better for doing some of this kind of on canvas blending like this is really but it'll still have the layers underneath that will be good and kind of show through, like there. You keep waiting for, yes, a happy little tree. Nope, sadly this painting isn't going to have any happy little trees. Although, did you see the one we did? Let me pull it because it's sitting here. I haven't finished it because I haven't figured out what I want to do with the sky. But this one has happy trees over here and a bunch of happy trees over here. So, and I'm loving how it's like the way the paint is happening. I just need to figure out the sky. Maybe some happy little clouds. These are happy little clouds. Go in there and they just, see how they just float? They say hi to their little neighbor. Maybe I could be a Bob Ross. Nobody could be Bob Ross. He's the OG. That's why, I don't know if you guys saw this, but let's take a little break. This is, whoops, there's my Bob Ross, felt Bob Ross and my bobblehead Bob Ross. And yes, people bought those for me. Loved ones or others have given those to me. I did not buy them because I watched the documentary on Netflix, and I refuse to give those people who are merchandising his name and image a single dollar. Of course, none of us knows the truth, but they seem to not be very nice people. So, at least that's what the documentary said, and it's on Netflix, so it must be true, right? Oh, I love them. Thanks. Yeah, I was pleased with those trees. Turned out they turned out really nice. Okay, now I think this is a really nice little base. These will just make clouds coming down this way. We'll get the general flow. Then we'll work on this a little bit. Okay. I'm gonna even out some of the values on this a little bit. Try to blend out some of this dark, intense I think what I need to do is just take a much blend out some of that dark value. We still want significant contrast here. But kind of we'll see how this all turns out. All right. I'm pleased with kind of the shapes of these clouds, um, and the relative values I think are pretty good. What I need now is kind of this they're looking good. Thank you. I'm still not sure exactly what I'm doing, but this orange is really saturated, and I don't know if it's gonna. I think that orange may need to come like down here. The grass down here will yeah, I'll paint like some more highlighted picture or more highlighted branches. This was just the general shape of what I want. But yeah, I'll probably, and I may make some of those bushes as opposed to blades of grass. But yes, it is, we're going that direction. Yes, yes, yes. I'm changing these values. Down here, it's not as dramatic in the photo, but I'm kind of emphasizing this a little bit, that like you want your the reflections that are in the water, you want them to be more darker, basically a darker value, because you're reflecting, yes, the color of the sky, but you're also looking at it and the reflection of the water. So that's what you're looking at it, in this case, kind of across the top of the water. You're not looking down through, or you would be able to see whatever's under the water. But in this case, you're not doing that so much. Yeah, I truly agree. And oh, there you're, CJ, I saw your, it's looking so much better. Yeah, it's crazy how things change in your eye and talent in a year. Yeah, it is really crazy. And if you were going to move it up, the last orange reflection would need to go up. Yes, yes. And this I put that in there, but this will be diffused when I start putting more of this watercolor in, the color of the water, then that will be less emphatic. I want to get the shapes correct, matching each other, pretty correct, so that I can basically just go in and do refining, because I just want to get things set so that when you look at it, there's nothing that jumps out to your eye that says, oh my, that's way off, if that makes sense. That's what I'm trying to do here, is just kind of match up slowly, match up colors, or values and colors and shapes, essentially. Because the shapes will, like if something's off, even if our eye can't tell how to fix it, our eyes are pretty darned accurate with saying, huh, that's off. So anyway, now here we're getting very much the reflection of the CJ, you were saying it's amazing. That's one of the reasons I keep doing this, because I realize how valuable just consistent effort is. And that's something we all kind of know, but so few of us, I'll speak for myself, I rarely execute on something consistently, year in, year out, week in, week out, over and over and over and over for, a long time. I don't often do that. And so, yeah, it's very valuable. I have realized through this process, like how valuable that over time, that accumulation of skills is, and how much of a difference it makes. Like, it's like, whoa, all of a sudden I'm like, oh. And that has just come in the last couple of months when I've been working on these paintings that I started years ago. And when I step away for a year or 2 or 3, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, when I come back, wow, I've improved. Isn't the big circle before the line of orange up in the reflection? The big circle, shouldn't it be the base of the orange, then the line? Circle, then the line. I'm not sure exactly what line you're talking about. I'm basically just inverting. Actually, a way to do this, let's see. Oh no, that is backwards. So basically what I'm doing is the general direction is this and the general direction is this. These are like V's. So it's V, V, V. So I'm kind of basically following that. It's not a circle. I'm basically following the V's, if that makes sense. Generally, it's not exactly perfect, but it gets the right generally the right shape. But I will also, because see, this may be what you're talking about, the circle, and it's generally this space right here. So that's why I need to take some of this and bring this out more. I will adjust this in time as well, but yeah, look how blue, when it's really this kind of purpley color, or more reddish purple. Look how blue I had it. There are some spats of blue underneath, but the majority of it is not. It's kind of that magenta purple, which isn't purple at all. It's like on the palette it looks like a brown. This color right here is kind of this brownish orange, but yeah, I didn't know how to create this illusion at all, and so I just faked it till I maked it, which had me way too, this is probably too dark, but give us a start. We can mix because the color will be in here. No, I'm not going to ignore you. I'm just sitting peanut in the peanut gallery. No. It's like, it is absolutely helpful to have people pointing out and saying, hey, this looks off. That's also what because I don't live in a place where I get my art critiqued. And that's one thing I need to actually pursue, is finding some legitimate people who can provide legitimate feedback, because I do want people to tell me what's working, what's not. Obviously that's the fastest way to grow. We're going to take... Notice how close, when we had just this in here, this looks so brown. But when we start bringing this color down there, how close they are. The sky color and the... But if you notice on the reference photo, you can barely see that line of the dock, because the reflection color is, or not the color so much, but the values are almost exactly the same. And so you have, like, it almost just disappears. I mean, it's there, but not quite, right? So okay. Well, we're gonna tone this out a little bit, blend it. But what I do want to do is come in here and put suggestions of little, where the water is buckling. So different. There's like a right through the middle of here, there's ripples in the water. I just want to put those suggestions in, because you just put a little bit of a different shade of color in there, and that helps you see, your eyes start to see the ripples of the water. Hey there, Bob. Thanks so much just for stopping in to say hi. I know you've been running, literally and figuratively. We're about to, I was telling the gang, we're about to, it was 50 degrees today, and we have a winter storm warning out tonight. Supposed to start in about another hour, maybe. We'll get some... Of course, it's been so warm, I don't know that it's going to stick around long. I know it won't, but that's kind of spring in the mountains. Somebody this weekend said, this is spring one, kind of intimating that, you know, then you have third or fourth winter, and they're not wrong. We do. So we'll have winter again, and then we'll have spring, and then we'll have winter, and then we'll have spring, and it's so funny how quickly it changes around here, especially this time of year. So, whoops. Okay. This feels so much more realistic to me than it had been, if that makes sense. Now what I would like to do is take a little blue and a little brown and mix the dark, dark, dark value we had. Okay, now let's go in and see if we can put in our tree line again. I think we want to come to about there. Hi there, Mrs. Abel. So good to see you. Thank you for popping in. I appreciate it. It's been a while. I do think I want to kind of bring these up a little bit more maybe than they are in the reference. And let me just kind of slowly build in the reflection using the paint that's already under there. Yes, I already like that a lot. We have all kinds of things coming, including rain, wind, hail, tornadoes, Ooh, so you're getting the same kind of front, just different. Yeah, please stay safe. That's that time of year. I love this time of year in Arkansas, and it's also terrifying, especially what y'all have been through, like the last, what was it, 2 years ago? That's really scary. Hey there, Big Toad, thanks. I appreciate you stopping by and the kind encouragement as always. There's like some little, oops. I do need a maul stick. There's like some little mountains out in the back of this. If I look real close at the I don't think I'm going to put those mountains in. All right, we have about 5 minutes. I think this is kind of all just going to get this. Really what I'm looking for is, does this all work? There. We'll work with this as we go, redo more. The water's really still out there, but there. I like where this is going, y'all. Oops. And it is pretty much all about balancing. It really is about balancing values more than color. We'll come in and refine this color, but it's getting these values correct, which means the balance of light and dark, basically. But I like the shape. It feels correct. It feels good. It feels right. And so now we have something to really build on. When I come and put additional layers, I'll be able to put these highlights back in. Yeah, and we will do that. I don't know what I was using, which brush I was using for the orange, but I'm just testing some things. Ooh, that's really dark. I don't want... It's kind of a green color. I don't really want green going in there. Although, now that I look at it, it is kind of the color of... Nope, that's too green. all right, I'm going to have to shut her down for tonight because I'll just keep going. I could keep going another 2 or 3 hours probably because I am on a roll, or it feels like whenever you get, when a painting or any sort of creative endeavor is going in a good direction, you just want to keep going. This weekend, every weekend I go up to the local Episcopal church here in town and practice pipe organ because I'm learning to play the pipe organ, and I basically have one practice session a week, which is right now Sunday afternoon or late morning afternoon, and I practiced a couple hours because I'm trying to just learn the basics, but then I found the stash of music from the former organist who has passed away, but she was there for, I don't know, 40 or 50 years, and she had so much amazing music that I can't play, and a few collections that I attempted. And I know because of like what I've experienced with painting, like it's just consistent effort over time, but I'm not super patient, and I've been playing the piano for 40 years, so I want to just, have a certain level of innate ability built up, and I do to an extent, but organ is a total different beast, and it's a total different even way of your brain working, and I know I'll get it because I already see improvement, but it's just not as fast as I want. But that's okay. I can handle it. That said, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. You get to see me clean my palette off because I don't paint every day, so I don't usually leave my paints out on the palette or my brushes, which a lot of painters do when they're in every day. But I want to say good night to you. You don't even look 35 to have played the piano 40 years. That's so kind of you. Let me bring y'all back here. Whoops. I actually have a birthday in April this spring, and I will be 48. So yes, I have been 41 years, something like that. I think it was about 7 years old I started, but I had been interested for years wanting to play, and my father wisely said, you're going to wait until you're old enough to commit, and once you start, you don't quit. And so thankfully he had that wisdom, because I've met so many adults who started piano lessons because they were at one time interested, or their parents wanted them to, or for whatever reason, and many said, oh, I wish I had kept with it. And when I was a teenager, at some point I was kind of just overwhelmed and frustrated and tired of piano, and I almost quit. And I had a friend who said something along those lines, like, I've never met an adult who said, oh, I'm so glad I quit the piano. So it was the right message at the right time, and so I'm very grateful that she said that and that I listened, and yeah, so that, sorry, my other camera went down. Let me set this up so I can say good night to you so someday I'll have a studio all set up and it'll just multi-cameras, and probably not. I'm not that interesting. So your mother is the one who wished she had continued the piano. See, I've never met an adult who said, yep, I'm so glad I quit. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for all of you who joined this evening again, those returning viewers and the new ones that popped in. I appreciate each and every one of you. It is so much more interesting for me when I can do something like this, explain my process. I'm an external processor, so in a very real way, you are helping me to learn and to get better, because my brain is thinking what I'm going to do, but then when I have to explain it and think through it out loud, it's really helpful. So I appreciate you all and enjoy my time with you. I enjoy engaging with you. Next week, we will be back here on Monday night at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. That's 8 p.m. Eastern. And we will be back in the studio with you for episode 163. So hardly seems possible, but yeah, we've been doing this a little over 3 years. I've been painting a little longer, but there was a segment about 6 months where I didn't do a lot of painting, but or a public painting at least. And but yeah, it's crazy to think that it's been that long. So this is where we are right now. Compared to where we started, it's amazing to me. All those purples and blues, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't, it didn't read right. And so this reads so much more, even the way we have it. Even if I just hung it up like this, it looks so much more accurate. And I just couldn't, 2-3 years ago, I just could not mix that color, or I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it and understand what I had to do to get that color. So yeah, it's amazing the changes that happen. And so I will kind of leave you with that thought, whatever your creative endeavor is, or any effort, new skill you're learning. That I think that's an important point, that to be, I guess, gracious to yourself and allow yourself to just hit those walls of your capability, and recognize that is not a personal failure. It's not a bad thing. It's just the walls of your current situation. And if you continue to not even practice, but if you just continue to do the work over and over and over, at some point, little by little, you will develop the skills, even if it's not an intentional process. This is not super intentional. I don't have a structured curriculum that I'm going through. I've just been painting consistently pretty much every Monday for 3 years, and it makes a difference. So that's my sermon for persistence and consistency. But I appreciate you again. Thank you so much for your kind comments. I hope you have a great evening. If you are interested more in kind of my ideas around creativity and how I think about creativity, especially when it comes to developing new skills, last week I started a new Substack on the site, or you can download the app Substack. It's thecreativeedge.com or thecreativeedge.substack.com. And you can check out my various ramblings there. Last week, I wrote an article on hesitation and why we hesitate to start when it comes to new skills, particularly creative skills. And tomorrow, I will have an article going live on how those small efforts can make a big impact. And so that's probably why it's on my mind, because I was writing late into the evening yesterday for that. So if you're at all interested in my perspective in regards to that, beyond just this venue, that's another way you can engage. So thanks so much. Have a great evening. Those of you that are getting bad weather along with us, stay warm, stay safe, and we will see you next week. Good night, everybody.